Peace be upon you and welcome to our show. This is the Al Islam and Community Issues Group show. Today we have a very special extension of a part one show. This is part two of our very special guest, special guest too, is Brother Raven St. Reeves.
Well, gee, thank you, Brother Benjamin.
I'll be your host today, Brother Benjamin Shabazz. And Brother Raven is a very talented poet, and he has a lot of information and material he wants to share. So we're going to get right into it. First, we're going to open up with a brief prayer so that we can ask for the Creator's blessings. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Ameen. So, Brother Raven, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, this poem that I'm going to share was inspired when I was driving across Stevens Pass, going across the mountain pass, and it was snowing. And my peripheral vision, I sort of imagined, I guess, that there was a horse running. And so it inspired a poem. And I think, and I'd like to share it. Upon the snow, above the flowing streams, a horse runs free. The pines stand tall, and howling wolf awaits another snowfall. Coming around the side of the mountain, a warrior with arrow and bow, quiet, like the falling of the midnight snow. Apache, arrow, bow, crazy horse, Geronimo. The Sioux dances with the crow. The Mohawk dances with the fox. Braves dance, drums talk. The dead walk, bear, wolf, mohawk, arrow, bow, tomahawk. Above the snow, a horse runs free. And that poem has always stayed with me.
That's nice.
Well, thank you, Brother Benjamin.
That's nice.
Now, I will go on to something a little different. This particular poem is called Once Upon a Grim Time. Within a strange world, devoid of compassion, sound reason, or rhyme, here can be clearly seen a lush oasis of emerald green. Vibrant, serene, which gladly circle a freshwater well that billowed and gleaming bright, turned right, and flowed unto a magnificent garden of colorful flowers that were firmly planted near unto a red brick wall, steep and tall. Here lived a fickle wolf. One day he stepped forth from his ornate mansion, and with a gladsome gleam in his greedy eye, peered down upon all the little people struggling desperately to make ends meet. When of a sudden he huffed and he puffed, blowing away minimum pay, effectively bushwhacking the poor from the mansion's hardwood floor. While by the hour minimum wage is devoured. From this green oasis, upon the rich shower special graces. Alms for the rich. Nothing for the sick. Snarling wolves at the straw door of the poor. For the rich, pay raises galore. Fire, hail, lightning strikes the Liberty Bell. Who knows, can anyone tell? Who tainted the fresh water well? Did this bitter sweet arrive up from fiery hell, or from lofty heaven with tainted light fell? Have any questions, or should I proceed?
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Well,
I'll tell you right
okay.
now. Were they supposed to play a clip for you?
Not yet.
Okay, all right, okay.
Gusty gales, wind and hail, guided by fickle minds, brittle and frail, rudderless, the ship of fancy have taken sail upon a surging sea of storm and hail. At blue noon, a mighty ship is warbling with large colorful balloons. Gusty gales, wind and hail, lightning strikes the Liberty Bell. As we the people cross the unrestrained waters of greed and hate, and with the lofty spirit of our gladsome hearts entire, we arise to conquer debilitating fear, as we the people see through our own eyes and hear through our own ears, brighter and wider, to unfurl the majestic, gallant banner of justice much higher. And like the resurgence of a vibrant spring grass, we arise to greet at dawn's beauteous twilight the rising sun, as we reach up through layers of divisive ideologies and petrified doctrines, until we behold the comely face and smile of Joseph, our brother and long-lost friend. Now a poem by Langston Hughes entitled, I Am the Negro Mother. Children, I come back today to tell you a story of the long, dark way that I had to climb, that I had to know, in order that the race might live and grow. Look at me, dark as night, yet shining like the sun with love's true light. I am the dark girl who crossed the Red Sea, carrying in my body the seed of the free. I am the woman who worked in the field, bringing the cotton and the corn to yield. I am the one who labored as a slave, beaten and mistreated for the work that I gave. 300 years in the deepest South. But God put a song and a prayer in my mouth. God put a dream like steel in my soul. Now, through my children, I'm reaching my goal. I had to keep on. No stopping me. I was the seed of the coming free. I nourished a dream that nothing could smother. Deep in my breast, the Negro mother. Remember my years, heavy with sorrow, and make of my years a torch for tomorrow. Make of my past a road to the light, out of the darkness, the ignorance, the night. Lift high my banner out of the dust. Let none push you back. Remember the whip and the slaver's track. Remember how the strong in struggle and strife still bar you the way and deny you life. Abused, tired of the blues, bursting shackles asunder, for justice we hunger. In the beginning, upon the face of the deep, darkness reigned everywhere, a great flood of rain. All were seized, gripped by fright, rocking of the ark, the black darkness of the night. The ark rocked, Noah spoke, O black raven, messenger of the night. How would you like to guide my ark tonight? Suddenly, into the dark shadows of the night, black raven taketh flight. Now, upon Noah's ark, everywhere, silence, fear, watching, waiting to hear. Black raven screams, the ark rocked all through the night. It was rock and roll as 2 by 2 from the ark they all strode. Verily, we the people of this emerging American democracy are held together by an invincible bond of unfailing faith that the enemies of inclusive America can never break. even if the heavens and earth should crumble and quake. Yet one indivisible people hath arisen, and with the mighty mantle of liberty and justice for all, we shall continue our storied exodus through the raging storms of ignorance and hate reborn. Though we have been scorned, with awesome courage, we carry on to face the grim light dimmers of freedom's majestic torch, even as they assail and diminish the bright hopes and dreams of inhabitants around the world. Banefully, they pronounce against the people of oneness the rancorous scorn that they themselves deserve.
That's my kind of stuff right there.
Well, now I'd like to...
What inspired you to write that one?
Oh, what inspired me to write this one?
Yeah.
Well, it seems like there's a flood of divisive ideologies that are rushing and flooding into our communities, poisoning the waters of good faith. And so what inspired this is my desire to make right what I see as imbalance. We shouldn't be divided by ideologies. We shouldn't allow petrified doctrines to control our lives. These petrified doctrines have exercised a pernicious and awful influence upon the peoples of our great nation. And so I'm just inspired, like all of us, to do my part.
Okay, what you got next?
Next is, this poem was inspired, it's called African Exiles. It was inspired by a woman I met some time ago, and she was, at one time, she was an exile from South Africa. And to me, she was shining like a diamond. And so from seeing her, a poem came to mind, and I'll now share it. African exiles, scattered from earth's warm womb, African exiles, simmering, black coals, crouched aglow upon the night's Plutonian shore. Springing from the thicket, lions roar, and when that golden trumpet blew, lions like stars scattered through the midnight blue, penetrating earth's hard core. Stars like African diamonds shine upon far-off shores. And that particular poem was inspired by just seeing how the pressure of life can transform us, these pressures, from just a coal, a black coal, to a diamond, just like the coals are in the mountains, and after thousands of years of pressure, they become diamonds. And this particular woman, she was like a diamond because of what she had experienced in South Africa. And I look around me and I see many diamonds shining upon far off shores.
Okay, all right, all right. So that piece that was played, what was that referring to? I mean, what did you pick up on that one?
Well, that was from, I decided to put a poem to music, and it was well, one thing is, I've been speaking to people of various religions, and I have a Christian friend, and I asked him about the Noah's Ark and what bird Noah sent first, and everyone says, oh, he sent the dove first. But when you actually read the Bible, no matter what version, it says that Noah opened the ark and he sent forth a raven, and the raven went to and fro until the waters receded from the earth. And then at that point, from my understanding is Noah sends out the dove, but the dove could not find a place to set her foot. So the dove comes back to the ark for 7 days. Noah sends the dove out again, and then finally the dove comes back with an olive branch, and everyone knows they can leave the ark. And so this poem, Noah's Ark and the Birth of Rock and Roll, I just wanted to highlight the raven. So the raven and the dove is like yin and yang, you know, which is spoken of in studying Taoism.
Okay, all right. So what you got next for us?
Well, let's see, Brother Benjamin. Okay. At dawn's golden twilight, circling the honey gate of beauteous paradise, she twirled around honey moonlight, and down between yellow flowers fragrant bright. Inside the warm glow of honey moonlight, ornate chapel pillars are honeyed, curved, and bright. The primal sweetness of warm vanilla spice came from her regal highness's honeycomb paradise, wherein dwell the billowing well of sweet cherries' cream delight. Now, I will share here just a page from my book entitled The Night of Kites. Here we go. It's entitled The Honey Rose and the Warrior. From the hidden mystery of Sheba's bright Nubian star, with jeweled sword, bold eloquence, and starry eyes bright, Antar traveled beyond wild Arabian nights to dine and sip with gladsome glee the sweetest Persian tea, and leaving the regal sweets of Persia and blue water Greece, came he then unto the dewy sweet of Germany's legendary green rim, to greet above river Rhine, rolling around grassy hills, the honey rose of wild thrills. Now, this next poem, let's see. Now, this book was inspired by the 13th century. And this is the story of a group of healers who lived in Germany's legendary Black Forest. And they would come out to forest and they would bring healing herbs to the local population. But they would have to do it carefully because the authorities had a dim view of the forest dwellers. And so this is just a short, very short story about what took place.
Okay.
Like unto the sweetness of a fragrant gust of twirling summer wind, from the deep forest into a waiting cottage came Helen and friends, heavenly inspired, dancing, singing like a celestial choir, when of a sudden, in the center of the kitchen's open window, came a raven like unto days of long ago, surrounded by the sun's ancient light, like a halo, radiant, bright. A few moments later, Helen and the other healers, come from the forest, gladsome divine, noticed that behind them, cloaked in shadows of black and gray, sat someone who turned his face away, then became still as silent night, like a captive held in the petrified hollow of winter's icy twilight. A couple of the healers, inspired divine, left the cottage in a hurry to unwind, and a few stayed, peeped from the windows, and prayed that they'd live to heal another day, afraid of gruesome's insidious grim. They listened for the rumbling thunder of the galloping horsemen, until she alone stood very near unto where sat the silent one in a wooden chair. Though his face be turned toward the dark shadows hidden, he could not escape her bright eyes' arrival as bidden by Gabriel's lofty trumpet and twirling celestial choir. Unrattled, Helen, the wondrous healer inspired, looked directly at the silent one, sitting there like a hunchback, cloaked in the dark shadows of mystery, when boldly she came nigh unto, be it merciful heaven or hell fire, closer she came to inquire. Then there came a deep moan, a plaintive cry. It was the silent one's lovely mother, wiping tears from dove eyes. Then with quivering lips she speaks, "Welcome to my humble home. Me and my son, we live alone. I'm Sarah, my silent son. His name is Herman. Since his scar upon his cheek, he has no fun. From friends he runs away, never going outside to play, but in the shadows, upon a wooden chair, he sits all day and stares. Even upon a day like this, so warm and fair. O gladsome healer, sweet divine, come ye nigh and heal this young son of mine." Then near unto him Helen kneeled, and finding his ear, whispered sweet, like unto the fragrance of orchids twirling in the summer air, And as she whispered kind and sweet, softly upon his wounded cheek came a kiss, honeyed and sweet. And she said, oh, it's really not that bleak. Girls think scars are manly, unique. Then again, gently and sweet, warm lips kissed his quivering cheek. Like unto the sweetness of candy, the results were quite dandy. Now out in the open without fear, with Helen and the others, young Herman leaped into the bright sunshine and fresh air. Then, like unto the enchantment of holy water, from his mother's eye, a lone tear rolled down her freckled cheek that healed our hearts warm and meek. And again, saint stars twinkle bright. Here be the heaven's awesome majesty, the white rose, her healing grace hath unveiled the chapel's lofty gate.
Wow. What's the name of that book?
It's called The Night of Kites. It's full of stories.
All right, brother. We want to thank you again.
Well, thank you for having me on your show, Brother Benjamin.
We're going to do it again.
Really? Gosh. That would make me happy.
We're going to do it again.
All right.
All right. That's a wrap, brother.